Hey, everybody, good evening. Welcome to tonight's edition of That's Novel. I'm Stephanie from Stephanie's Book Reports, and tonight I have with me author Nicole Rene, and we're going to talk about her novels. If she's new to you, down below here in the show information, we have her social media links and the link to her books on Amazon. So you can check those out while we are chatting. Excuse me, I just wanted to give y'all a heads up. My internet's been kind of shaky this evening, so hopefully, it'll still work tonight. You know, there was a few weeks, a couple months ago, where it kept freezing my computer and the show would go off. Well, I mean, I could get connected on my phone, but then eventually it would cut the show off. We will go as long as we possibly can. Keep my fingers crossed. This thing didn't have any hiccups. I'm telling you, I want to go back to DSL. This cable modem is a bunch of bull, if you ask me. But my husband did not, so we shall see if we can stay connected. And if you are watching for the first time, feel free to subscribe to the channel and like the show so we get more feedback for the show likes. There's also, I'm sorry, my tag has been driving me nuts today, and no matter how I try to get this other shirt up so that it will quit scratching my back, but just keeps snaking up there. Anyway, there's a live chat box. If you're on the computer, it's to the right of the video screen, so feel free to chat in there with us. You can ask Nicole questions, and she will, I'll ask them I'll reiterate the questions online so people will know that she can chat in there as well. And if you're on a tablet or your iPad or iPhone, I guess there's a little, I don't even know. It's different for me since I'm the show creator. It doesn't show up like it's supposed to, but I guess there's a little box, little round circle thingy that says live chat or I don't know. Anyway, you should be able to see the chat box. You do have to be logged into Google to comment. So just so you know, that's
Google as in Gmail?
Yeah, Gmail, or like if you have Google Hangouts, through your other email addresses or whatever, you can sign in from there just to say hello. You have to be signed in. I do have one of the ladies that reviews for me. She's also an author. She watches from her television. So it doesn't always show that she's watching because she's not, she's looking for her television. So if she doesn't sign in, it doesn't really show me immediately that she's watching. But in order to chat, you do have to be signed in. It doesn't let guests comment for some crazy reason. But anyhow, Miss Nicole is joining us from her car this evening. She is in the melting pot.
I am in my car. And I'm resting my hand on my steering wheel, and my steering wheel keeps moving. So if my camera all of a sudden jerks, that's why.
Yes, we'll keep the air condition on so you stay cool for the show. And it's like 100 degrees, 90 or 100 degrees to where she is. So it's rather hot. Oh, hey, Deborah. So yeah,
Hi, Deborah.
It's quite warm. Whereas over here on my side of the country, it was 66 degrees today. So vast temperature difference between one side of the country and the other.
I've been dying here.
Oh, well, hopefully you'll get.
Yeah, there's some places in San Diego where it got up to 107. That's ridiculous to me. Not okay. Okay.
Right? You think you'd lived in Phoenix or something, that it was the desert.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It was quite warm. Well, so for those of you that don't know, or maybe you even do know if you're watching, Nicole writes historical romance, and she has two self-published titles. The first one is called How the Warrior Fell. I think we talked about this, didn't we? Talked about this book the last time, right? Last year. Nicole came on the show when I did the Blog Talk Radio, and so this is her first time with me. And I really, I guess I should say, preface this, that I really appreciate you joining me so very last minute.
Oh yeah, no problem.
We had tried to work her in on the schedule earlier this month, and then it just didn't work out. And then the author that I had scheduled for today didn't do it. And so I messaged her on Monday, and I was like, hey, are you free on Wednesday?
Yeah. Well, it worked out, though, because I was kind of bummed I didn't get to go. And then, lo and behold, you messaged me, so it all worked out.
Yay! Yes, it was
perfect timing.
All for the good. So this is what's kind of cool about Renee's stuff, is that if you look, or Nicole Rene. It's whatever. I'll get my brain to work one day. Is that her covers your covers, this is what I like about your covers, they don't really look historical-ish in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you didn't know they were historical, you couldn't tell, because they don't, excuse me, you don't have somebody. What is historical book around here somewhere? It's usually, those
They're
big
cheesy.
poofy dresses with the men, the big long sleeve shirts and whatever. That's what I depict as. I do have historical romance books somewhere around here, because I get a whole bunch.
They're definitely usually more like, I guess, I'm not trying to insult anyone, but they are kind of cheesy, or they're like very over the top, where it shows them like ripping the bodice, and they look like painting. They kind of look like paintings to me. Like, they don't look like covers, sort of. And I was very, like, from the beginning, I was like, I don't want my covers to look, I want them to seem more realistic, I guess. And I'm very, very happy with my covers. And thank you for saying that, because my covers are actually the one that gets the most compliments. Covers, even though people don't say, oh, don't judge a book by its cover, a lot of readers do, because, if it has a nice cover, then you're going to click on it, and then that's when you try to, like, get them hooked with the blurb. But, yeah, I love my covers better in paperback versions. I like to just feel them up.
Pet them and snuggle with them.
Yeah.
Do you have them in matte or gloss?
They're matte. I like
so that means they're very soft, and they're definitely snuggly.
Yeah, exactly. And I like them because usually gloss, I've had people tell me that fingerprints are pretty, like, prominent in gloss, and so, but matte's all smooth and soft and like a baby bottom.
Yes, I have some matte. Quite a few of these. I keep looking. My bookshelves are over here, so I keep looking this way. I have quite a few covers that are in matte. I mean, I like gloss too, but don't get me wrong. There's a time and a place for a gloss cover, but a lot of the matte covers, I just love to pet them because they're so soft.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with the gloss covers, but they don't pet as well. You can't stroke them as well.
That's true. I remember my book, but it was some other book, and I was like, oh, look at the pretty cover. And so I went to stroke it, and it squeaked, like squeezing rain. It was like, squeak! And I was like, oh. So that's another reason why I chose that happening.
Can't have a squeaky warrior. Just kidding.
No, you really can't. That's funny.
Yeah,
That's
this is not a very good depiction of a warrior. You can't squeak, dude. You just can't.
Yeah. Especially if they're supposed to be all, like, tough.
Deborah says I'm dirty. Well, I mean, really, you are. You do stroke it. Pet it. Well, I mean, I don't care either way. Any description that you use, you're still doing this motion. We're talking about romance novels, so what do you want?
Exactly. Romance novels have to be a little dirty.
Oh goodness. So you have 2 out in the series, and I don't remember offhand, but how many do you plan to write?
Originally, it was going to be 3, but I think it's going to be more now. These people talking to me in my head, and so like my newest release, How the Warrior Claimed, that was always like as soon as I wrote How the Warrior Fell, like I knew I was going to write How the Warrior Claimed, and I figured I was going to write a 3rd one, and that was like it's going to be more of a trilogy than a series. But when I started writing How the Warrior Claimed, there's a new character that wasn't in the first one, and he kind of just ended up my mind a little bit, so I started to write a little of his story. Not a lot to say that that's going to be like my next project for sure, but I definitely have been writing that as well as another character in the same series. So probably right now I have about 4 or 5 books planned, and then I also have tentatively a spin-off series. So, but I love writing in that genre, but I've had other ideas for contemporary as well, like a contemporary romance and a contemporary dark romance. So we'll see what happens. But as far as the series, I think right now I kind of have an idea of 5 books, but that might change.
Well, that'll be fun. I mean, it's a good thing that they're talking to you, because otherwise, you know, I hear that from.
I'd be screwed.
I even have several authors that are like, nothing talking to me.
I swear. There's been times, and it always happens when I'm like trying to work on something else. Like they purposely know that I'm working on something else, so they want to be like jerks and like take over my mind. Like that's what How the Warrior Claimed. I was trying to finish How the Warrior Fell because I was an idiot and I like set a release date and I wasn't even completely finished with the novel. So I got lots of sleepless nights because I was like staying up really late writing, trying to finish this for my deadline. And the main character in How the Warrior Claimed, his name is Tyronian. He would not. Like, I was trying to finish the first one, and all I got was, like, ideas of his book and not ideas of what I'm trying to write for the first book. So I was so annoyed. I was like, they really do kind of, like, take over your life. And it always happens to me. I just start to write one project, and then, like, a completely different project, like, comes into mind. And then as soon as when I try to write the completely different project, the other book comes back. So, like, I can't win.
Of course. I've have one of my authors has done that. She's published 2, like you. She's published 2 in a series, and she probably has 5 or 6 in this one particular series. Well, the 3rd book, like the 2nd book ended on a cliffhanger. And she's written book 5, but hasn't written book 3 because book 5 won't shut up. So
yeah, it's crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
It really does.
So it's a little crazy on how the characters want to monopolize your time, but really you can't. I don't guess you can do anything about it, because if they're the ones that are talking the loudest, you gotta, get it out so you can move on to something else.
And it's funny because usually only like fellow authors and readers, well, especially authors, you know, because they're the ones that write the books, but readers too, but mainly, like, they're the only ones that kind of understand. But, like, I'm sure, I think that authors have, like, type of schizophrenia because it really is like a conversation in your head. And there's been times where I've been trying to, like, explain, and people just look at me like, you need medication, I think, not. I was like, well, sorry.
Yes.
But,
well, we might have talked about this the last time, but I have this quote that I often said on the radio. I've not really said it that much on YouTube, but I think the difference between an author and a person that is diagnosed with schizophrenia is an author puts the voices down on paper, and
that's a perfect. I really like that. I think you did say that, and I forgot about it, but it's so true.
Yeah, you just put the voices down on paper, people, and maybe it'll turn out better for you instead of them trying to take over your life. Oh. Yeah,
exactly.
Because I'm sure they get loud, trying to yell on top of one another if they.
Yeah, Tyronian was the worst. He, like, seriously, I would, and it was always, like, the most inappropriate scene that would come in my head. Like, I was trying to finish, the first book, like I said, and I would, like, Tyronian would just start talking, like, dirty, and I'm like, and it was, like, a really emotional scene that I was trying to write, but all I heard was, like, this dirty talk, and I was like, so I had to, like, down sometimes, or oftentimes I would be like, no, just shut up, and I would try to finish the scene, and then of course, like, when I actually have time to write part of his book, I couldn't remember what he said, but I know How the Warrior Claimed, it's definitely more, I guess, X-rated in the talking sense than my first one. Like, mostly intimate scenes, but the second one, I think, I think the second one has more sexier type situations, I think.
Yeah. Well, maybe, excuse me, even sometimes having two documents going at one time. Like, I know several. Well, and even like one of my people, if she's writing out a scene and something else comes to her, she'll voice record the whatever is in her head, and then she'll continue to write. So she gets it out. But then she still has it recorded, she basically dictates to herself what that scene was about, or at least get some notes. So I don't know if that would even help you or not, but
I'll have to try that. I think I'm one of those people that as soon as I try to just poof, disappear.
Mm-hmm. That would be me too. I can barely, remember. It's funny, are we talking? Did I tell you this? Did I tell you that? Did we talk about? Yes. Or no, you thought you did. It's hard because there's so much going on in there.
Yeah.
And really, adding characters on top of that, I'm sure is darn near impossible to remember anything because you got.
It is. I had a hard time remembering ages. Like, even though they're my characters, when it was time to, like, write, I was like, wait, how old is that person? So I had to, like, go back and I, like, would times on the same person. Like, you'd think I would remember it, but I didn't. So.
No, Deborah, she's going to be like, stop talking about me. Deborah Presley, for those of you that are watching that aren't Deborah, but anyway, she works with Nicole with the marketing releases of her books. Well, so she the other day was like, did this such and such happen in my book? That's it. Do you remember? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, no. And we kind of like argued back and forth on one thing that I was like, no, I swear it was like this. And she's like, no, I swear it was like, I was like, go back and look. It's the only way we're gonna get it right. It's like
that too. I would ask my Facebook group, because I have my own Facebook, like, do you guys remember if this happened? And then most of the times they would know the answer and not me, which is the one that wrote it, but
it's almost like you need to do a family tree / diary thing for books and characters like that, so you can
Yeah.
keep up with all that stuff, what they look like, their hair color, their eye color. Well, that was another thing that she Deborah's gonna be like, stop telling all my secrets. You know, she was like, do you remember what so and so's eye color was? I'm like, no.
Every time you read her books, you should just make a note so you
Right,
would know next time.
you might need to remember this the next time. Yeah, well, and then she was rereading a certain part, and I was a character in her book, and she was like, I'm like, yeah, you didn't make me a very nice person. I try not to get a complex over it. But she forgot about that. That's the funny part. You know, like just random stuff. It took her forever to write the book, and it was like 20 different versions. Let's do that. Right. Like, there was like 20 different versions of that book that I read, you know, for her, and trying to remember. And I had to give her a hard time because she killed off completely deleted one of my favorite characters from one of the earlier versions. So, you know, I'm sure your beta readers are probably like that too. She didn't do this with that person. I really like that. Or she removed, you know, if you've ever done that part, she really did. She took away.
Well, I killed a pretty important person in the first book, and I remember I had like anxiety about it because it was like I felt like it was necessary, but I was like, but I love them, and I was like, oh, I have to do it. I just remember I was like when I wrote that scene, I was like so upset. Other readers were like, what the hell? Like, why'd you kill my dude? You know? And I was like, sorry, but that happens sometimes.
It had to go. But yeah.
And sometimes your characters, you get so, especially if they're douchey characters, like my first character, Xavier, was, like, he was an asshole for sure. That, like, there should be times where I would, like, contemplate killing him off just because when you're writing, it's like, sometimes you just hate them so much and you think, like, well, why am I writing him like that? It's just how he is, like what we talked about, like the personalities and voices in your head. But there's been a few times where that's dangerously close to falling on a sword or something.
Yes, death becomes you, dude, and it's coming quite quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Angela. There's Angela G. I don't know if you know her. She says hi.
Hi.
Do you write? Is it what time period is your historical? Is it modern historical or is it historical?
No, it's like historical. It's set in around like 2000, 3000 BC era. So it's pretty historical, I guess. As historical as you could get.
Oh yeah, that's way far back. We lost your picture. I just see your
Oh.
I just see your logo. I mean, not that that's bad, but
Oh, there we go.
I
accidentally touched the button. Whoopsie. I was trying to plug in my phone.
There you go. Keep it charged.
Yep, got it.
Oh, Angela says she's from the warrior tribe and she's so excited for the next book.
Oh yay, hi Angela. I know exactly who that is, too.
There you go.
You will be the first person, well, I mean, anyone in the warrior tribe will know, but you'll be the first to know who the next book is about. I think I'm leaning towards the new character that I introduced in How the Warrior Claimed. His name is Toric. I'm leaning toward him, but I left a little hint at the end, like the end of How the Warrior Claimed on another story that could possibly happen, and I know a lot of people are wanting his story. We'll see. But I have a few people I see stories for in that series.
Yeah, who's going to speak up first? Who's going to want to claim the third spot?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I should take a vote. Well, I mean, I could say I should take a vote, but that really, it depends on the character. But I know a lot of people want this character Tristan's book which Tristan is Xavier's brother, and you meet Xavier and his wife Leowyn in the first book. Second book is about Tyronian and Nemory, who are Xavier's cousins. Well, Tyronian is not Nemory, because that would be gross.
Well,
just wanted to clear that up.
Day, it wouldn't have been, because really, they were all.
Yeah, I could fully get away with it historically, but me, it would be icky. Be very gross.
Yeah. Yes, let's not go there. Yes, I knew a few people who, like, in the area that I live in. My family just got home. That's why I was like making a face, because I'm like, what are they doing here? They're about 30 minutes too early. Anyway, they'll stay downstairs. Well, I can almost 99.9% sure that as soon as they get inside, my husband will come upstairs, because he can't stand it, and then he'll go back downstairs. Anyway, and there's a few people around here where I live that are cousins, and they're married, and I'm like,
oh wow,
really?
That's interesting.
I mean, I guess that's why this state gets, accused of being like West Virginia quite a few, because there's a lot of inbreeding around here. But
wow,
still, it's 2017.
You should be Virginia's tour guide and lead with that.
Guess what? You meet somebody local, they probably married to the cousin. It's yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I do know a few people that are married to their first cousins even. I'm like, come on now, yo. What year are we in? What? Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
What's crazy too? Oh, there's a little baby hummingbird. It's crazy too, because my book it's usually arranged marriages. Like, that's the main premise in a lot of the books, which was pretty common in that time. But I remember when I was starting to write the first book, I happened to be able to interview some people that were in an arranged marriage, which I remember it blew my mind, because I was like, what? It's like 2016. Why are there still arranged marriages? But yeah, some people still do them, and I don't know if I could ever do that, but it's their culture that they carried on.
There is a blogger friend of mine. Well, I mean, a lady that I know that is a blogger, and she published her first book earlier this year. She lives in India, and they still practice arranged marriages. She actually just met the man that she's intended to be engaged to. I don't know. It was kind of weird whole process about them finding somebody and agreeing that he would be good enough or whatever, and then just a whole arranged marriage. Like, she has a dowry and all that kind of stuff, and it's the most fascinating thing, because nobody really does that anymore. But I guess in India it's still very prevalent.
What's funny too is that my book actually does pretty well in India. Surprisingly.
There you go.
When I look at my sales, that makes sense now. When I look at my sales, India is always usually pretty good. So.
Yeah, there you go. They can totally relate to your characters, because they still have this thing.
I guess. that is probably why now. That totally makes sense.
But it's pretty cool. I mean, it's interesting. I think it's kind of weird, but it's also interesting just to see how they do it. It's like, really? But whatever.
Yeah. I read about it, but I don't think I could do it. I just don't think so. Yeah.
No, knowing me, I'd be like, excuse me, but no.
Yeah. Bye.
Right? If I had to leave that choice up to my daddy, who I was going to be marrying,
I probably would not be married if that was the case. Not that I'm married now, but I'm just saying, if it was like, yo, Dad, find someone to marry me, he'd be like, single for life.
Right. Just Like, nobody's gonna be good enough for my baby girl.
Yeah, either that or he would just be too scared. Because he called me, like, I mean, most of my family is pretty crazy because we're Puerto Rican, so that comes with, like, the territory. But with me, I don't think it's like, oh, no one will be, I don't think I want to even attempt to set you up with someone. So,
which is a good thing, because, you know, but usually, like, especially Puerto Rican women are all about the older ones, you know, setting the younger ones up for, here's a nice
yeah, no,
man.
that's never happened.
I'm like, well, and it's gonna, my husband and I were a blind date. So,
oh, wow.
would you consider that as, it's not an arranged marriage, but we were a blind date. So it's kind of,
That's like story material. I went on speed dating once because it was on my, like, bucket list, and it is nothing like the books. It is so incredibly awkward. None of the guys like I found attractive, and but the only thing that was hilarious is I went with my two friends, Alex and Lauren, and it just so happened that the guys that went to me would then go to Lauren, and then from Lauren they would then, you know, go to Alex. Like, it just happened to go that. And all at, like, the same table. We just ended up going in different tables, which was stupid on our part. But anyways, we didn't find out till after, because we're like, oh, how did it go? And I'm like, yeah, no, probably not anyone for me. And then Lauren's like, yeah, no, definitely not. And then Alex was just like, no one would look me in the eye. Like, no one was talking to me, and they, like, would not talk to them, and, like, they wanted. And at that point, Lauren just busted up laughing, and she told us that that's because she was telling all the guys, and she knew that they were going to Alex, that she was just there for moral support because Alex just got out of prison for beating up her boyfriend. so she's trying to get back in the game, you know, and she's like, I just wanted to, like, you know, be a supportive friend. And then so we automatically started dying, and obviously Alex was like, Lauren, like, no wonder no one would look me in the eye. Like, they thought I was a criminal for beating up my boyfriend. It was the funniest thing ever. I lost it. But speed dating is not as exciting as they make it in the commercials or movies. But
so sad. I never tried. That was never really a thing. I mean, I guess it might have been a thing when I was dating, but I don't remember it being a thing. I'm sorry, y'all. My hair is getting on my last nerve. If you watch this show on a regular basis, you know I always have issues. But tonight, it's really bad. Ignore me and my need to play with my hair. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if they had speed dating when I was in the dating. It's been a long time. But I don't know that I would be brave enough to try that, because I'd have to put somebody in their place, maybe. And there's probably not enough time for me to.
yeah, no, it was not that fun. I remember thinking, like, oh God, I hope this is ending soon. It would have been better if they, like, provided food or something. Like, they had a bar that you had to, like, well, obviously you would have to buy drinks. But, like, all I could think about was how hungry I was, and, like, how I wish that there was food. That's just because I'm, like, a pig and I love eating. But still, that would have been way better.
Right? Well, I mean, maybe they didn't do it that way because, you know, it's more intimate to eat with someone.
People.
So maybe they kept the food out of it so you didn't feel like it was a intimate scenario.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we almost didn't even go because it was kind of far, and I was like, I don't, but I guess it would have thrown off, like, the whole setup, so I kind of had to go. But it was fun. It was a fun experience. I got to check it off my bucket list, and that was that.
Yeah, when you start to write your contemporary romance, then you have fodder.
Yeah, they meet by speed dating, and it hits off.
You can make it
that might be where I start it, and I'll input the prison story because that's pretty funny.
I could just see how that one would wrap around. He's being in prison.
It was just, and it's funny because Lauren, my friend Lauren, we always joke that she's a robot. Like, she was definitely the only one that would be able to pull that off because she's so, like, not moved. Like, her face doesn't change, so she's able to deliver something like that and, like, make it believable. But it was perfect. That's definitely a book scene. Maybe I should get on that and write that.
There you go. Angela says, OMG, yes, do it.
Okay, since Angela says so, I will. Just for her. I'll make the girl who got out of prison Angela. Well, not really, but obviously it's a fake story. Instead of Alex, it's Angela. Hey, she asked for it.
Exactly. As long as she doesn't get killed off, I reckon it's all right. Of course, I don't know. There's some people that are like, yes, use me as a character that gets killed off. Can I know how I die? You know?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've gotten a few people, like, message me, which is very flattering. Like, I love when my readers message me or talk to me because I'm... But there's a person who messaged me and said, okay, if this person has... Tristan, actually, it was Tristan. If he has a lover, can you... after me? And to me, I know kind of, like, even though I'm not writing his story and he's like, and I'm like, I don't know if you want to be the girl name, like, that Tristan is. He's kind of, he's more of a jerk than Xavier. And there's already certain scenes that I've written that I'm like, because she still doesn't have a name, but, like, that's what I always think about. Like, if I know I'm purposely naming someone, especially if I know that someone is going to have sex in the book, like, I don't think I could do it. But if they read it and they're like, oh my God, he did what to me? That would be the worst.
Well, that's like, you know, Deborah using me for that character was such a brat. She's pretty mean.
Yeah.
And
one of my favorite authors is...
I tried not to take offense. I didn't really, because I mean, it was just kind of funny that she named the character my name. It's just funny. Like, you read. Well, and Stephanie is a common name, so anytime I read, you know, a book with a Stephanie name, sometimes they're not nice and sometimes they are. Just like Jodi Ellen Malthus's last book, oh gosh.
The Forbidden?
Yes, thank you. I can only think, I'm like,
You're
I see
welcome.
the spider web, but I could only think of the Protector. And, you know, I'm like, no, wrong book, but it's the spider web. Yeah. So, you know, the antagonist in that book's named Stephanie, and I tweeted at her. I was like, I do not like this lady. You know, I don't. And then I'm like, don't judge by the name, people.
Yeah. Well, the one person I remember, Megan March. I can't remember what book it was in, but I know that one of the, like, the bitchy girls was named Nicole, and I was like, she wasn't exactly. Oh no. She wasn't bitchy. She was actually pretty hardworking, so that's good. But she kind of made it seem like she was involved in something not good, and I was like, oh man, like, why? Don't make me involved in something not good. But yeah, but I don't really see my name too much, luckily. It's fine with me.
Yeah, not a lot of Nicoles. I'm just trying to think. Do I know anybody with a Nicole character? Not that I can think of, but I'm sure. Anyway, are you going to use your own name in your own books?
Probably not. Especially, well, definitely not in my historical. There's not names like that. I have to. It's a challenge to think of historical names. So far, I've actually lucked out. Like, most of them have just come to me, but I don't know. I feel like I would feel weird if I wrote a character based off myself. Like, I would feel succeeded, I guess. Unless I make it someone that's like completely not like me. But no, I don't think I would ever write a character named Nicole in my own books, because that's just weird. I would feel awkward.
This is not me. I named her after me, but it's not me.
Yeah. And you never know if readers are like, oh, is she basing this off experience? Nicole I'm about to write is like super slutty. Like, I don't want people thinking I'm slutty. I've wondered about that a few times when it's but also like in the book I'm like, is this based off experience or some personal book research or what? So I don't think I would ever want that to happen.
Yeah, I've asked that of a few authors that I've interviewed too. Like, is this your normal? Do you participate in such a thing? You know, well, and I mean, I have interviewed quite a few authors that write BDSM, and some of them do practice and some of them don't. So, you know, it's like,
yeah.
Do you practice what you write? And do you, like, I know one author that any toy that she puts in her book, in her BDSM novels, any toy that she uses in there, she tries first before she puts it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's got to be an experience. And it's a write-off. This is book research. But
yeah, that's even what's funny. I actually was thinking about doing a BDSM book, dipping into that. But I think most authors, a lot of the stuff that they write, if not a lot, then some of the stuff that they write, they either it's kind of stemmed off personal experience, or you know, a certain scene is from personal experience. But that's what's kind of cool about being an author, is that no one really knows unless someone asks you, you know.
Right.
And even then, you can lie about it. But
did you really do this?
yeah.
Do you find yourself weaving some of your personal self into your storylines, even though what you've written so far is historical?
Yes, definitely. There's been times where how to explain this. Like there'd be times where I would have to think, how would I react, or when it's like a super emotional or some type of feeling, I would even though it's not the exact same situation, I would and came from something that happened to me in my life, you know, so I kind of would seep into that and write it, even if it was a different situation. But I feel like me personally, why I started to write in the first place is I wanted to read characters I wanted to read, because when I started writing How the Warrior Fell, I cannot talk. Really bad reading stump. Like, I was like, I would buy books and I would start in and like not finish them, you know, and I was just like, I want to read this type of character, you know, and what I started to do. So I definitely think that every character I have at least has some part of me in them, but definitely other ones. I think Xavier is just someone all on his own.
My phone keeps buzz. Like, stop buzzing. It's my email going nuts. I'm like, stop.
Oh.
Do you have to spend a lot of time researching your historical stuff, since it's like so far? I mean, it's like 4,000 years ago, right? So you said it's just...
Yes and no. Coincidentally, so the surrounding of the book is set in ancient Mesopotamia, but the actual Samaritan tribes now in Israel, like it's Israel now. But so the landscape I based off Mesopotamia and Sumer, but the actual tribes but the interesting thing about them is that there's not a lot of history on them, really. They exist, and we know some of their and such, but they're them specifically, I couldn't really find a lot of information on them, so I kind of just merged. I used the Samaritan names, but they're basically like them and their culture a little bit. I based off Sumer, like Sumerians, because there's Samaritans and Sumerians. So I tried to do research, but it was hard because those tribes, like, there's really not a lot of information on them. The fact that what I thought was interesting is that we even have history on them is pretty awesome because, you know, they didn't write or do hieroglyphics. Like, the fact that we have any type of history is amazing. But yeah, so I did a little bit, but not a lot, just because I couldn't find any, really.
Right. And I mean, if even, not to really toss religion out here, but even biblically, I was just trying to think, the only time you really hear about Samaritans in the Bible is that, you know, the visit at the well with the woman and how it was taboo for a Jewish person to speak to a Samaritan because they were dirty. You know,
yeah, exactly. So my tribes have Samaritan names, but in all honesty, they're kind of based off Sumer natives more than Samaritan natives. So, but yeah, there's really not anything except for, you know, the Good Samaritan, really. But there's really not like a lot on them. So but it was awesome because that expertise, you know, even though I'm technically using names that are real tribes, like, because they don't have so much history, I had a lot of leeway of people, you know, they're not gonna. Plus, no one was around back then. No one could like message me and be like, "That's not what happened," you know. So
exactly, you have a lot of leeway in your storytelling because there's nobody to say, "No, that wasn't right."
Yeah, and if they do, like, if they're like, "Well, I know," I'd be like, "Well, how exactly do you know?" Because I'm a little concerned now. Either you're a vampire or something.
Or y'all passed down material and didn't give it to historians to, you know, to put out there, but which is possible too, but probably not a whole lot because, I mean, really, if they didn't know how to.
Well, even the language, like, there's not a lot of, no one really knows, like, the language, obviously. Like, they know that they spoke, but, you know, they didn't know how to read. They didn't know how to write. There wasn't really, like, hieroglyphics or anything. I know that the Izages had stone, like, their houses were stone, but even language-wise, I kind of got away with saying more modern terms than historical terms just because the guideline of what they did and did not say. So it's like historical but also slightly fantasy just because there is so much leeway for me.
That's a plus.
That is a definite plus.
That too.
I cannot pass.
That's whatever. It's a heat wave. You're allowed to be like, my brain's not working.
I was actually just thinking, like, I'm going to hate it when I have to get out of my car and go back into the heat.
Mm-hmm. Yes. To Joanne, Joanne, I don't want to mess up your last name. She says, your male characters give me the vapors.
Joanne Ordonez is her name.
That's the way I would have said it, but I didn't want to screw it up. So.
Yeah, she's funny. Because we work together, so there's certain times where I'll write a scene, and then I'd be like, "Hey, Joanne, you want to hear this scene?" And then she would make me blush because she would be like, or she'd be like, "Man, this got me hot and bothered," or something. It's something ridiculous. And like, her reaction is what made it worth it because they're always so funny. And so, yeah, thanks, Joanne, for always letting me read like tidbits of my book, even though you should be working. but she's way more. She's a harder worker than I am, for sure.
Well, you're essentially doing 2 jobs at once, right? If you can write and work at the same time, you're doing 2
Yeah.
jobs.
Well, the funny thing is, it's like my brain knows I'm not supposed to be writing because inspiration happens when I'm at work. So I find myself writing while I'm working instead of working. And then when I come home, I'd be like, okay, I want to finish writing, but nothing. So, like, pretty much both of my books have been written at work, mainly. Which is probably not a good thing to say, but whatever.
Yes. Let's hope your supervisor, your boss, isn't listening.
Yeah.
Don't dock my pay.
Really?
I'll get my job done.
Yeah, I do. I just, sneak in some chapters, which is even more embarrassing when it's like I'm writing a really dirty sex scene, and I'm like, there's been times where I've been writing a sex scene while I'm on the phone with like the people that I'm working with, and I'd be like, you have no idea what I'm doing right now.
If you could be a fly on the wall.
Right?
Yeah, Deborah says you're on a lunch break. It's my lunch break. It's my 20-minute break. I'm just, break time.
And there's been a few times where I've caught myself saying something that I was writing out loud, or I would like call them by my character's name, and I would be like, this person. But luckily, I don't think they noticed, and if they did, they didn't say anything.
Joanne, she says, I know you're working on the book when the keyboard is buzzing.
I know, Joanne. I feel she's such a good employee.
Flying.
Yeah, no, because she knows, because my keyboard is really loud. But she's such a good employee because she'll be like, hey, I need this. I'd be like, okay, and I give it to her like 2 days later or like a day later because I'm writing. That's why Joanne's the best.
Not distracted. Whatever works. At least she likes what she's reading, so she's entertained while helping you out.
Exactly.
Oh, goodness me. We have 3 minutes left. Woohoo! So just for y'all to know, dang. I don't know if I have to sneeze or what, but she says always support the creative people. Yes, for sure. If Nicole is new to you, her information is in the show stuff below. Here, I keep pointing because the video. It's in show information. It's right underneath the video screen. Are you doing any book signings? Going anywhere?
Yes, I cut out a lot for next year, but I'm doing one in San Diego, April 13th, I believe, 2018, and I'm doing my first international book signing in Ireland, Dublin, on October 23rd, I think, 2019. So, just 2. I probably might add some more. And also, I wanted to quickly say that my first book, How the Warrior Fell, I don't know how long this is going to last, but it's on sale for 99 cents right now.
Yay! 99 cents!
But it's still, yeah, 99 pennies.
Oh, thank you, Angela. She said description box. Yes, that's what I was looking for. I don't know.
Good job, Angela.
Joanne said, what? Dublin? Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Dublin is pretty
I'm excited.
Awesome. And it's October. It'll be chilly, but definitely a great experience, I'm sure.
It's okay. I like chili. Yeah, I'm gonna
compared to now, for sure.
Yeah. I would totally like chili more than this stupid weather. It's been 94 degrees. Between 94 and 100.
And it's almost 6 o'clock your time, so hot.
Yeah, 1 more minute.
That's hot. Whereas I think what I said at the beginning of the show, it was 55 here. Let me see. It probably hadn't changed much in that hour. Yep. Oh, it's 53 now. See, we're just going. It's supposed to be a low of 43 tonight. Cold. Cold. The heat came on in my house today. Okay, that's how cold it was here.
Lucky.
I was like, oh.
I know, it's supposed to be, it's usually like cold for San Diegans at least, but it's supposed to be cold, and like, that's the time of year I look forward to is sweater weather, but I don't think I'm going to be wearing sweater weather for a really long time.
All right,
so
not anytime soon. Maybe by Christmas, maybe, but.
Otherwise, I will riot.
I don't know, I love San Diego weather, but I mean, it's the end of October and you're still at 100 degrees. It's kind of, I mean, you don't live in Phoenix, so really, what's going on?
I know. Damn global warming.
Hello, global warming.
Ruin everything.
Oh, goodness me. Well, thank you so much. It's after 9 o'clock now. I know my little creatures downstairs will be like, we gotta go to bed. It's so cool night. Well, at least my husband will be. The kids will not. My husband will be like, hello. It's after 9 o'clock. I'm surprised he hadn't messaged me already to be like, are you done yet? But so anyway, thank you so much, Nicole, for joining me. And excuse me, much success to you on finishing out your, if I decide to do this again next year, you'll have to come. I mean, that's a decision I need to make soon because hello, I only have like a month left.
Yeah.
For the year. But we'll have to definitely get you on, next year if we do it again when your next, your third one comes.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me again. This was fun. Thanks for squeezing me in.
Yes, I'm so happy that you could join me at the last minute and agreed to the video because, I mean, it's kind of scary.
Yeah. Good thing I asked if it was a video. Otherwise, I would have looked like a monster.
No, I'm sure you'd be just as beautiful. Either way.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us this evening. And let me see. Oh, next week I have KP Simmons. She's the owner of Ink Slinger. So if you're an author, it might be a good week to check out for her and her PR marketing strategies and what she's got going on. But again, Nicole, thank you for joining me. Much success to you. And well, if we do it again, we look forward to seeing you.
All right. Well, thanks. Thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. Good night.
Night.